Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today, the longest day of the year. And a very happy Father's Day to all of you celebrating Father's Day. Today, I'm pleased to introduce to you Nishma Shah, a vegan chef. Nishma runs her own cookery school and also has a vegan catering business called Shambhu's. She's going to be taking us on a Mediterranean journey this afternoon with 3 different items. And during the course of the session, if you've got any questions whatsoever, feel free to use the YouTube chat function and ask your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So I'm going to hand over to Nishma. Enjoy the presentation.
Thank you, Shailen, for the very kind introduction, and thank you, Shailen, Ashish, and Oshwal UK for the opportunity to deliver this cookery demonstration. I know that many of you watching are passionate and creative in the kitchen and are very experienced. So I'm very, very grateful for you to taking the time out here for this demonstration. So, okay, let's make a start now. So like Shailen said, that today I'm making some Mediterranean style dishes, which are great to enjoy during these lovely summer days. So they're relatively light, healthy, and colorful. I can speak in Gujarati as well. So એવું લાગે કે કાંઈ સમજ નથી પડી તો મને કહેજો કે શૈલેનને question પૂછજો. So I can speak either, and I'll be switching between 2 languages as well. So let's make a start. So the first dish, I think a lot of you must have your recipes as well in front of you, and some of you are cooking along with me. So the first recipe I'm going to make is spanakopita, which is spinach filling. And then we will move on to making the fennel, roasted fennel salad with lentils. And then finally we'll have a dip, which is made from char grilled red pepper. And all the dishes that we're making today are vegan. So there's no animal products in there, no eggs either. So it's suitable for everybody to have. So let's make a start. So I'll make a start on the spanakopita first. So for the spanakopita, it's divided into 3 parts. First, we will make the vegan feta cheese, so which will be, and then we will move on to making the vegan egg wash, and then we will fill the spanakopita afterwards. Okay, so let me make a start. So I'm making a start on the vegan feta, which is all Greek style. So I'll squeeze all the water out from the tofu, and you can see there's loads more coming out as well. I'm using a firm tofu, and tofu holds a lot of water, and for this dish I like it to be completely dry. So I'll just show you the amount of water that's come out. Can you see? It's quite a lot of water. I'm going to drain that out. This tofu is like a sponge, it absorbs a lot of water. So if it absorbs water, then it will absorb flavor as well. So I'm going to crumble the tofu up. And then next I'm going to add sanchar. So for people who don't know what sanchar is black salt, and it can easily be mistaken for Himalayan. So but you can see the difference. The Himalayan one is quite coarse, whereas the whereas the black salt is quite fine. It's like a powder. So I'm using black salt here. The reason I'm using salt is because it's got like a sulfuric taste. So it will give like an egg flavor.
So Nishma, black salt isn't actually black then, is it?
No, it's quite purple. That's yeah, that's it's purple in color. But once it touches the food item, you'll see it'll turn gray black. So that's a really good point, actually. Like if you're looking for black salt, the color is not black. I'm going to use half a lemon juice. And next, I'm using, it's called nutritional yeast. It's available in most supermarkets. And also, it's called nutritional yeast. It's not active yeast, it's dried yeast. So don't use it for making bread or anything like that. It gives quite a savory flavor and a very cheesy flavor as well. I'll mix everything together. And I'll keep it to one side. So when I'll keep it to one side for everything to absorb the flavors, for the tofu to absorb flavors.
So Nishma, spanakopita it's a pie, right? Or what is it?
It is like it is a pie. It can also be made into resembles triangle like samosas. So it's a Greek style dish, which is great for taking on picnics. The next thing I'm making is the vegan egg wash. So traditionally, the Greek style spanakopita has got eggs in it. It's made from eggs, and also made from feta cheese, which is cheese made from sheep's milk. So we're going to make our own egg wash. I'm using plant-based yogurt. I'm using soya yogurt, but you can use any plant-based yogurts that you have available. If you don't have any yogurts available, you can also use soya milk, and do the same process, like adding oil slowly. So I'm going to start whisking to make the oil, and you'll see that the volume of yogurt will increase in size. So I'm going to add some oil. Let me add some black salt in here. So while whisking, it will mix in really well. So I'm adding some black salt and some olive oil. So I've got 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And can you see I'm using a continuous stream? I'm pouring the oil in a continuous stream like this. And continue to whisk until it gets quite fluffy, and it will make a kind of a design as well. So you may have noticed that I was pouring the oil in a continuous stream while whisking the yogurt. So let me whisk a bit more. I don't know if you can see how it's making some sort of design. So that's the sign that it's ready. And for this process, you will need a good high-speed blender. So at least if the blender speed is more than 600 watts, it will work. If it's less than that, it will take a very long time, and with continuous use, you may also burn the motor out. So you don't want that to happen. So you get a high-speed blender or a powerful blender. So okay, so let me. So we've done this. The egg wash is ready, so I'll keep it to one side. Next, I'm going to dice the onions. The onions, I'll peel the skin off, and I'll left the root on the onion and dice it like this. So this way, at least it holds, when you have the root on, it holds the onion. Any questions, anybody, while I'm doing this?
Nishma said the onions are, where are the onions going in this dish?
The onions are going in the spinach filling. So,
Okay.
so I've got the spinach filling here. This is I'm using a frozen spinach. This is mainly because of consistency. You can use fresh spinach as well. I'm using frozen because if people are cooking along, then they may want to have the same consistency as I have. So this is very finely chopped spinach. And you can see how much water is coming out. So again, drain all the water out. And you can use this water. If you want to save this water, you can save the water as well to add to your cooking. There is nutrition in the water as well. If you don't have spinach accessible and you have loads of nettle growing in your garden, you can use nettle as well. So this is something I just picked out. Again, nettle, you can use it finely chopped, but please be very careful when you're picking nettles. The leaves are quite, it's got like little, it makes your skin itchy. So, nettle again is high in iron. Spinach has got iron in it, and also has nettle. And you need to steam the nettle first before using it. So I'm draining all the water out. There's a lot of water coming out.
So have you boiled this first, the frozen spinach?
No, I'm using straight from the freezer. I defrosted the spinach. I haven't cooked it at all. I'll not cook the spinach. It comes finely chopped. It comes in little pellets, finely chopped. So to the feta, vegan feta, I'm going to add the spinach in now. And I'll add the onions. One onion, I chopped one onion. So finely diced one onion. Again, I'm not cooking anything. I'll give it a mix. And I'm just going to grate in the garlic. I've got 3 cloves of garlic, which I'll grate in. You can use either a plain grater like I am using, or you can use a garlic press as well. And it comes out really nice and clean. Oops. One flew off. If you don't want to use garlic, you can leave it out. I'm not adding any chilies to mine, but if you want to add some chilies, you can add chilies as well. And I'm using about 30 grams of pine nuts. Pine nuts give like, they're quite high in fat, so they give like a really kind of a cheesy flavor as well, because we haven't added any fat to the mixture. And I'm going to add some black pepper. So,
Nishma, just a question on the onions. If somebody doesn't want to use onions, is there a substitute?
yeah, you can use celery instead if you don't want to use onions. It will give the same kind of crunchy flavor. So you can use celery.
And I guess another question was about black salt. If you don't want to use sancha, what else can you use? Just regular salt, or what would you use?
Yeah, you can use regular salt. No problem. It won't give you an eggy flavor or eggy taste. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. Okay, now we're going to move on to using the filo pastry. We start lining our tray.
While you're getting that ready, Nishma, just a question on spinach. So if you don't want to use frozen and you use fresh spinach, would you just chop it up, or how would you prepare fresh spinach?
So fresh spinach, you can use blender. Use a blender or use a food processor to chop it up finely. And I'm using this ready-made filo pastry. So pastry, to be absolutely sure that your pastry doesn't have eggs, use there's in this pastry, it says vegan on there, written on vegan. So you know that it hasn't got any eggs. So although some pastries, they say vegetarian, in the UK, the Vegetarian Society does include eggs as vegetarian. So, so you're safe for buying vegan products to make sure that there's no egg in anything. I'm sure quite a lot of you would have used filo pastry and know how delicate the sheet is. Okay, so I've got two brands here. I've got one from the Morrison's and one from Sainsbury's. So Sainsbury's, you've got like a green V here, and then underneath it will say vegan underneath the green V. So so if you don't want to read all the ingredients, you can find out that way as well. It's much easier. So I got my pastry here. I brushed the base of the tray. So I try and put equal number of pastry sheets. So I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll use about 5 for the base. And you can see if it like, you can fold it down as well and be generous.
So you have to coat the whole sheet with your egg wash.
Yeah, cover the whole sheet with the egg wash. And if you see the egg wash, the normally you have oil floating on, like if you mix oil and water doesn't mix. So in this case, because we whisked everything at a high speed, the oil and the soy yogurt has blended in really well, and there isn't like oil floating on top. So that's the first, and now this is the second one. Okay, so keep on doing that until you get to the 5 sheets. So while I'm doing this, you can ask me any questions.
So what is the reason for putting this wash on? I mean, it looks like you're wallpapering. What is it? Why do you put this on?
That's a really good question. It looks like I'm wallpapering. The egg wash will create like flakiness in between each pastry. So you'll have like a nice flaky pastry in between.
Okay, yeah. I guess, is that the same as some people just put butter or something like that on the sheets?
Yeah, that's true. So some people will put butter or yeah, the same. But we're making it much more healthier. This has got a higher content of protein because I'm using soy yogurt and like very little oil. So if you want to cut back on the amount of oil that you're eating, this is probably one of the ways to do it. And also you have to make sure that your spinach and your tofu is completely dry. Otherwise it will soak through all these pastry sheets, and these pastry sheets are really, really thin. They're like very, like almost like tracing paper. So this is my final sheet that I'm using. And now you can see the mixture looks very, very dry. So I'm going to, so you don't need to have a rectangle tray. If you're doing this in your jiko, if you have a jiko out and you have a different kind of a vessel, like if you have round vessel, you can put this in a round vessel as well. It doesn't need to have a rectangle tray. This is perfect for jiko party, like if you want to add some different options on.
So you're saying you could actually cook this in a jiko?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Wow.
It will have like a lovely smoky and outdoor kind of feel as well. It will have a lovely flavor.
So Nishma, there was a question from Hina about what would be a good accompaniment to this dish. Do you want to tell them just briefly the 2 other items that you're going to be presenting?
Yeah,
go alongside?
So what we're doing is that we're making the fennel seed salad and roasted fennel salad with pui lentils and also a char grilled red pepper dip. So that will, again, all those items, they can all go into a jiko, like if you're having a jiko pizza party, all those items can be made into a jiko, put into the jiko. So you can have like a proper party with, you don't need to have all the prep done in advance.
Yeah, it sounds good then. So shall I just give everybody your address and we'll all come around later on this afternoon?
Absolutely, all welcome. But you have to bring a jiko. I don't have a jiko.
Okay, bring a jiko party. Okay.
So jiko and charcoal. So if you don't have pine nuts, you can also use almonds as well. The last pastry is quite stuck, so I think what I'll do, I'll just put both of them together like this, because if I try to prise them open, they will tear, and I want to minimize the tearing. And this is the final layer. And try and keep it as neat as you can, but you don't have to worry too much about it.
So, you know, the filo pastry you're using, did you take it straight out of the fridge, or do you have to let it reach room temperature? Or?
Oh, that's a really good question. No, I took it straight out of the fridge. And also, if you notice, I didn't put any, I didn't put a wet towel. I didn't use a wet towel. So just before you're making this, take it straight out of the fridge and use it immediately, and use all the sheets. Otherwise, it will dry out, and then you won't be able to use the sheets at all. So use all of them. And this is just before you decide to make the dish. Okay.
And what are you sprinkling there? I missed that.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, that was the black sesame seeds. If you do not want to use sesame seeds, you can also use onion seeds, the calzone, the black onion seeds. You can use those as well. And now I'm going to score it so that it has like nice squares. So into nice.
Does that help with the cooking, or is that more just to help serve?
It keeps it neater when you're serving it out.
Oh, I've never seen that device before.
This is like a pizza cutter.
Okay, right.
A knife as well. I'll use a knife too, because I can't get to the edges. So you can
And
use
just to clarify, sorry, Nishma, there was a question about the filo pastry sheets. So you used all 10 sheets?
I use what?
Did you use all 10 sheets?
I use all 10 sheets, yes.
So 5 in the base and 5 on the top.
That's right, yes. There's no point in saving any of the sheets because they'll be completely useless afterwards. They'll dry out.
Right.
So you want to use them up. So it depends which company you're using. Some may have 12 sheets in it, some will have 10. So have equal number of sheets.
Okay. You're cutting all the way to the bottom, are you?
I am, yes. I'm cutting into like nice squares so that people can pick it up once it's cooked. And yeah. So that's what's. Okay.
So the amount you've got there would serve how many people, do you reckon, as part of this meal? 6 people or?
Yeah, I would say 6 people because you'll have loads of different dishes to eat at the same time. So yeah, if you're just having one dish, then probably 4 people. But if you're having quite a lot of other kind of mets items, then there will be 6 people. Will be 6 is good. So I'll put this in the oven, and I'll bring out the other one.
So what's the oven, what's the instructions on the oven?
The oven temperature is 180 degrees. And I preheated the oven at 180 degrees. And in the middle shelf, if you put it in the middle shelf. So here's one I made earlier. It's come straight out of the oven.
I was going to say that got cooked pretty quick. How long did you have it in the oven for?
I had it in the oven for 40 minutes. You want the pastry to cook right the way through. you need the pastry to cook right the way through. So I had it in the oven for 40 minutes, and if you didn't cut this beforehand, it will be like really crumbly and break open. It won't look quite messy. So this way it looks quite neat.
Okay, so it's a good thing you did score it before then.
Yes, yeah. So I'll set a few up. Can you see? It might be quite hard to see, but you can see quite flaky the pastry in between. I'll try and get another piece out. Is it quite hard? It's, yeah, you might see the flakiness in the pastry. So this makes a really light dish.
So how deep is that? Is that about 2 centimeters or?
How deep? Yeah, probably 2 centimeters is the right size, yeah. But everything gets cooked, like the spinach will have dried out in the cooking as well. So it started off quite deep, and then when it cooked, then it went down to about 2 centimeters. So.
Nishma, you might see a queue outside your door. There's a lot of people saying they're coming around for lunch.
You're all welcome, they're all welcome.
So
there's plenty to go around, so yeah, so come around.
Yeah.
And we have to obey the social distancing rule, so it may be 6 at a time.
So Pooja was asking, do you garnish it with anything?
Apart from sesame seeds, no, I haven't garnished with anything else. I'll put the final dish together later on with everything. So.
Okay, so this is just the first of 3 items you're showing us today, and then I guess you'll plate up the rest at the end.
Yes. So we still got 2 more to do. I'll move on to the next dish that we're making, which is the roasted fennel, and we're moving on to the next dish, which is the roasted fennel and pui lentil salad. So if anyone's following, we're going to do that next. Yeah. So I'm going to clear up some space from here to make room for the other ones.
And Nishma, if you can just grab a slice of that again and bring it to the side camera, maybe we can try and see from the side camera the layers of the pie.
Okay, yeah. Is it visible?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. And so that's quite crunchy, is it?
It is quite crunchy. It's straight out of the oven. Should I try one? I'll try one. Wow, I've never had egg before, but it does feel quite eggy, which is really good. That's the flavor that we're aiming for. So yeah, so this is done and it's really nice.
Looks good. So if have you had anybody who has had egg before to say to you that seems really authentic?
I did give it to my friends and they said that they prefer this one, the one that I made, compared to the ones that I've had in the past. So that was, so everybody prefers this one. So in my opinion, yeah. So I think you should try it out. So like people who are making it can can give some feedback. It would be great, just to see what they think about it. So okay. So we're moving on to the next dish, which is the roasted fennel and pui lentil salad. I'm starting with the courgette. So courgette, top and tail, and cut the courgette in half. If you want, you can try the courgette just to make sure that it's not bitter. This is really good. And the pieces that I want are quite chunky pieces. So chunky. And use quite a big tray with some room in it. I'm not going to add any oil to this dish. I'm just going to add everything in straight away. Tomatoes, I'm going to put that in straight away. I'm not going to wash, I wash them. I'm not going to slice them in half. Onion. Like dice in big chunks. So everything for roasting is going to be quite big chunks. And I've got yellow pepper here, which I washed. So we remove the seeds. And I'll cut it in quarters. So this is a lovely size.
Did you say you're not going to put any oil in the baking tray?
No, I won't be adding any oil. The water, it will just be cooked from the water from the vegetables. All these vegetables have got a lot of water content in there. So I'll just leave the vegetables to cook in its own water. We don't need to use oil all the time. And I'm going to use the fennel. Fennel, I'll half it first. And you see all these leaves, save them for decoration. Later on, when we're garnishing the dish. So I'll put them in here. And half it, and quarter the half, make a half as well. So it's into like nice quarters. So all this will go in the oven for 20 minutes now. So while we're putting that in the oven, top. So I'll put it on the top section of the oven, and it's gone in 180 degrees Celsius. So with the spanakopita that I made.
So that needs to go in for 20 minutes, you say?
That's 20 minutes, yeah. So yeah.
So that fennel has quite a licorice type flavor.
That's right, yes. And some people may not like the licorice taste. But this comes out really nice. It depends on if you like the licorice taste or not. So for the we're making the dressing here for the pui lentils. Also the pui lentils, I cooked the pui lentils beforehand. And this is a kind of lentils. If you don't have poi lentils, you can also use like these tiny masoor. So poi lentil is from the region of France, Lepri, and it's quite like a black. It's a black slate green color. So if you can't get a hold of poi lentils, you can use this tiny masoor as well.
Can you bring the poi lentils a bit closer to the camera so we can see them?
That kind of size.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We can get them from Turkish shops as well, but the poi, Cheryl, I think you have got some interesting facts on that, on poi lentils.
Well, except that they, as you say, they originate from Le Puy region in France, and they're grown in quite specific conditions. And apparently they're very good for when you cook them, they retain their texture quite well. And I've had them before. I know they have a very good firm texture. And that's why they're very popular in a lot of salads and those kind of dishes.
It's got unusual flavor, isn't it? It's not the same flavor as masoor. It's got quite its own flavors, like most lentils have. And I feel it's very light to eat as well.
Can you explain how you cook them?
So what I did was I boiled them in half a liter of salted water, and I want to show how finely diced I want the onion to be. That's why I didn't do this in advance, but really fine, because we're going to cook this at a gentle heat. So see, it's less than a centimeter, it's almost like half a centimeter, and it's very thin. I'm keeping it. Because when eating the salad, you want to use this as a dressing. You don't want the chunks to come in your mouth. So, really tiny.
So the poi lentils you boiled in water for, how long do you boil it for?
So I think I boiled it for about 20 minutes. And it's really nice lentil, because you have to make sure that it's cooked. And also, if you soak the lentil in advance, then it's like less cooking time. It almost halves the cooking time to like 8 minutes or 7 minutes as well. So it's better to soak the lentils first to halve the cooking time. So if you're organized enough, it only takes half an hour of soaking the lentils. So see, see how tiny? I don't know if you can even see it. I'll bring it to. So this is how tiny I want the onions to be. So I'm making the dressing now. I'll move things out of the way a bit. And I'll switch on the cooker.
So this is the dressing to go on the roast vegetable salad?
Yeah, this is the dressing for the roasted vegetables salad. So I got balsamic vinegar here. If you don't have balsamic vinegar, you can also use pomegranate molasses. The molasses will have a different flavor, but at least it will give you that deep dark color that you're going for. I'm not going to add any oil at the moment. I'm just going to add the onions in straight away.
So you just put in the whole one red onion you chopped up finely.
Yes, the whole red onion has gone in. And now I'm going to add oil afterwards. This is the reason I'm not adding oil with the onions, like I'm not adding oil first to the pan and then the onions, is because olive oil has got a low smoking point and I don't want the olive oil to burn. So, and also I'm putting it at a medium heat as well. And I'm going to use some sugar, some salt. This time, I'm going to use the Himalayan salt to release the water from the onions. So when you add salt to anything, it helps release water. And now I'm going to add some oil. I'm adding about 3 tablespoons of oil. And I'm going to add fennel seeds as well now because I want the flavor to be absorbed in the oil. And next, add chili flakes. So chili flakes to taste, but half a teaspoon is enough. Depends on the strength of your chili flakes as well. And yeah, this will be like a slightly long process because we want the onions to caramelize, and caramelization takes a bit of a long time. And sorry, going back to balsamic vinegar, I know quite a few people some people may not have balsamic vinegar accessible. We can use pomegranate molasses. Pomegranate molasses is quite thick in I'll go on, I'll show you. It's quite, it's very, very syrupy. It's like a thick syrup, like that. So you can water that down, you can thin it down, and then use it instead of balsamic vinegar. But it will be completely different flavor. Balsamic vinegar and pomegranate molasses are very different in flavor. The pomegranate molasses will have a slightly sour and a bitter taste. Yeah, it will taste a little different, but it won't, it will give you the depth of the color that you're looking for. So I'll reduce the heat now to low heat. And I'll open my window as well because of the smell of the balsamic vinegar. When the balsamic vinegar hits the hot pan, it will be a very, very strong smell, and that can like make you cough a lot. So now I'm going to grate in some garlic. I don't want the garlic to burn, so I'm making sure that the onions are cooked or are close to cooking before I add the garlic in. Because once your garlic starts burning, it will be really bitter in flavor, and you don't want that. Any questions at this stage?
How much balsamic vinegar did you put in?
They say which or how much?
Yeah.
So the balsamic vinegar is, I haven't put that in yet. I'm going to put that in. I've used about 150 ml of balsamic vinegar. So half a cup or a little bit more than half a cup of balsamic vinegar. And balsamic vinegar as well, it will say vegan written on underneath if it's suitable for vegans. So it's a filtering process of the balsamic vinegar that may not be vegan. Just like wine, they use fish bladder or isinglass to clear, to make sure that the wine is clear. So it's the same process I use in balsamic vinegar as well. And this is getting very close to cooking. So I'm going to add the grating the garlic. So I'll say 5 cloves of garlic, but it depends. Like say 2, these are quite big garlic I have. So I'll just use 3 instead of 5.
If you don't want to use onions and garlic in your meal,
Yeah.
is there an alternative instead of making this dressing? Would there be something else you'd recommend?
So without if you don't want to use onions in this dish, you can just make it with fennel and chili flakes. Fennel and chili flakes will be a good dressing with pomegranate molasses. Yeah, so you can use that pomegranate molasses, fennel, chili, and tomato paste. So that would be a good one. So I'm adding the tomato paste in first. So I'm using tomato passata, and this is chopped board because I didn't see the point in waste in spending time making the passata at home. This is a quick way of making the dressing. And now I'm going to increase the heat and let it thicken.
So a couple of questions then.
Yeah.
You mentioned the pomegranate molasses.
Yeah.
Where does one get that from?
From any Turkish shops, you can get that from. And also, I think most supermarkets may have it as well these days. So it's a popular Mediterranean ingredient, molasses, pomegranate molasses. And
okay. And another question was, going back to the spanakopita, is there a substitute for nutritional yeast?
you can leave it out. If you don't want to use nutritional yeast, you can leave it out. Or you can use the stock cube instead. You get vegetarian stock cubes and you can use that. But you don't have to use nutritional yeast if you don't want to. I would say, like, if you can use the tofu, the soya yogurt that we made. You can mix that with the tofu. So you can see it's bubbling away. Yes, it's bubbling away now. I'm going to try it a bit just to see. I like to thicken this up I like to thicken this up. And I'm going to add a bit of salt. So let me try.
Put it on your.
It tastes really good. I would add a little bit of sugar to this. Tastes really nice. it's quite, it's got sweetness coming from the fennel. It's sour from the passata. It's got heat from chilies. And it's got also the sourness from the balsamic vinegar as well. It tastes really nice. Try this out if you guys are making it. Let me have your thoughts on this. I'll add very little sugar. I'm adding less than a tablespoon of sugar, so it doesn't matter which sugar you use. I think most sugar in the UK is vegan.
You're basically thickening up that dressing.
Yeah. Okay. So I think let's move on to the next dish while this is doing. While this is thickening up on a low heat, we'll move on to charring our pepper. So I'll create some space here. And I'm going to add the lentils. I'm going to remove some of the dressing to put in between the fennel seeds, and then I'll add the lentils to this so that the lentils absorb the flavor. There you go. So at the same time, the lentils are warming up as well. So let's go to the next dish, which is charring the char grilled red pepper dip. So this is the accompaniment that will go with the char grilled red pepper dip. Is the accompaniment that will go with the spanakopita. So let's move to the fire. We need fire. This one. This is why I was saying that this dish is perfect to make in the jiko, because everybody loves playing with fire. So and burning things. It's something about barbecue where you need to burn something, and this is the way to do it. Okay, so I got my red pepper, and I got a jari as well. So I'm going to start, and it's on quite a high heat, and I'm going to char the pepper. So you hold your pepper with the pucker, and it's on naked flame, and it will take quite a bit of time to cook because there's a lot of water content in the pepper. So what you're doing is you're charring the skin, and here's some that I've done earlier. You can see it looks really like, oh my God, you wouldn't serve it to anybody. But this is exactly how you want it. You like, see how the skin has come out?
I was going to say, did you fall asleep while you were doing that?
It'll taste amazing. It will give you like this really lovely smoky flavor, and it will taste, and see how it's not even burnt from inside. When you take the skin out, it's completely not burnt. It hasn't even touched inside of the red pepper. So that's how you want it.
So when you're making the dip, do you have to remove the burnt piece? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so remove the burnt bit when you're making the pepper. You don't want the burnt bits in your dip at all. You want the color to be red. So I'll wash this under the sink to get all the burnt bits out. It's a burnt skin. It's nothing else is burnt. So you see like that? It's how the skin comes out. So let's make this dip now. I'll switch this one off and I'll make the dip. So this way, I'm just washing it under the sink. And you can see, here's my sink. I know it's full of washing up at the moment. So yeah, so if you guys are coming around to have a meal, then you might have to wash up as well. There's a whole pile of washing up left here.
So Nishma, if you don't want to char grill it on the flame grill as you just showed us,
Yeah.
the alternative would be to what, put it in the oven? Or
Yeah,
grill it
so
and grill it in the oven?
you can put the whole thing in the oven, like when you're roasting it, like there's no in like yeah, don't waste the space in the oven. Put it in the oven. And also like so you can see how well it's completely intact, you know, from inside. Look at the skin. If you can't get the whole of the burnt bit out, it's okay. But in the oven, you can split it into half, take all the seeds out just to check that there's nothing, no insects in there, and then you can make the red pepper like that. But you can see, yeah, how this will work for a jiko party, yeah. Let's see how easy the skin. So you have to leave it to cool. Once you cook this, you have to leave that pepper to cool down, and then it will shrivel up, and all the skin will come up really easily like that. But you really have to char the pepper.
And you would char it for about 6-7 minutes to char it.
It takes about 10 minutes to char the pepper properly.
10 minutes, okay.
10 minutes, yeah. So until all the skin is black, completely black. But it depends, like if you're putting in the jiko, then it depends on how much heat the coals are giving out.
In the jiko, you would wrap it in foil and put it in?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah, and put it in foil and then put it, yeah. You don't get any ashes touching this pepper as well. So remove all the skin, remove all the inside bits, the membrane and the seeds out. So inside of this pepper is not even soft; it's quite tough. So there you go. You can the peppers that you get, charred peppers that you get in the shops that are come in jars. Personally, I think that's complete waste of money and time. But if you don't have time, then yeah, that's another way. They get the ready-made ones. But this is, I don't know, I find quite therapeutic to do. And you can also use this to put in your sandwich. So if you have hummus and red pepper, charred red pepper, you can put it in your hummus as well and have it as a sandwich. That's a really lovely combination. So I'm going to use a jug. Get the blender ready. And the red peppers go in. I've got walnuts here. I got about 15 grams of walnuts. 1 clove of garlic. And I got sun-dried tomatoes. All go in there. And I'm going to mash it up. Again, you saw I didn't add any water because the peppers got lots of water in it. I'm going to add some salt. I'll give it a taste. Wow. That's amazing flavor. I just think I did with salt. After this, I'm going to go to a picnic and I'm taking all this with me. You can see it.
How much sun-dried tomato did you put in there?
I put about 30 grams of sun-dried tomatoes. Because it's quite a really deep, like a lovely red color.
Yeah,
And I got some basil. And I'll add about half a teaspoon of basil. So this is dried basil, and I prefer using dried basil to the fresh one because it's not as strong flavor as the fresh one. The fresh basil will have lots of strong flavor. So I'm going to get the roasted vegetables out of the oven now. So I just want to show you that even without any kind of oil, look at that. It cooks so well. And it's released its own water, so it's cooked in its own water. And also you want the and you don't want the vegetables to be crowded in. You want good space so that it's not like steaming in the vegetable, it's actually roasting. So that's what you want. So let's plate this up now. And see how colorful it looks as well. So I've got the dressing that we made earlier. I'll put that here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull apart the petals of all the fennel, and I'm literally going to put the dip in between, the dressing in between all the petals. Like that. And I'll keep it to one side. And now I'm going to mix the masoor in, the pui lentil in, and coat all the vegetables. I'll keep the fennel aside. I just want. So I'm using a ring here. Place your ring properly in the middle. And then layer it up with different veggies. so it looks like this when you're serving it up. And you dress it with the fennel leaf. Make some space here. So we're nearly coming to an end. We're just plating everything up. Any questions coming through?
Not in particular. I mean, there was a question about the recording of today's demonstration. There will be a recording and it should be up on the website in a few days' time. So people want to check something or watch it again, just keep an eye out on the website. It should be up in a few days' time.
And this is the spanakopita done as well. And this brings us to the end of the presentation now. So
what did you just sprinkle?
I sprinkle some basil, some dried basil on the spanakopita. I mean, on the dressing itself.
Wow, that looks amazing. Can we get a closer camera shot?
Yeah.
So that's how it looks like.
Thank you very much. That looks pretty cool.
And that's the spanakopita.
Wow, thank you. So just so people know, the recipes are online on the Shah website. If anybody wants to know what was the ingredients today and how to cook this dish, it's all been written up in very much quite a bit of detail, and you can get that from the Shah website. A question came in, if you want to substitute something, what can you substitute for the fennel?
For the fennel, so if you don't like the licorice taste, is that the whole fennel, do you mean? You can leave it out completely. If you don't like fennel at all, you just leave it out. Or you can use a celery as well, but the celery won't give you the petals that the fennel gives.
Okay, thank you. Somebody mentioned chicory.
Chicory, I don't know. I haven't tried the flavor of the chicory, so I can't comment on that. But yeah, if you like chicory flavor, yeah, you can use chicory as well.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end of today's presentation. I just want to give a big thank you to Nishma, and who's been ably assisted by her husband Mahesh. And thank you both so much for today's presentation. If anybody wants, they can follow Nishma on her Instagram page. She is on Instagram, and you can follow her and her business Shamboos. Next week, we have another treat for you. Nilesh Pai returns to take us on a journey to Southeast Asia with a Thai treat. And that's on Sunday at 4 p.m. And 2 weeks after that, on Sunday, the 12th of July, we have Jane and raw food specialists, Rajesh and Jyoti, with something very different. But thank you again to all of you for attending and joining today. And we hope to see you either later on this afternoon. We have a musical entertainment with Nimesh Sangoy as part of Father's Day. Otherwise, we'll see you at another event. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you, Nishma.